All right, folks. I'm recording now. I'm gonna try not to call your names so that your names doesn't show up on the screencast or something. Um, but I want to show you how I would attack this prompt, like what I would do. Um, First thing, put this prompt in here, and I'm gonna put the outline in here as well. I may use it, may not. Let's shrink all this. There we go. So we've read the prompt together, and now let's imagine it's Monday and you're in pre-writing mode. If you have that phone out, can you put that phone away? You're in pre-writing mode. So what do I say? Well, I think it helps as you're writing if you know, if you have like a big idea that you can work with, that's going to help you. It's going to help you pick scenes. So like we have the title of The Importance of Being Earnest. And did we say that that title has like one meaning? Or is it possible it has at least two meanings? I'm hearing two, right? So at least two meanings. So there's something related to, and also like when I think, I type. I think with my fingertips. You think with your fingertips or with your pen. It's helpful to think and type at the same time. So I'm in pre-writing, so I'm just writing down some ideas. Title has at least two meanings. And I don't even care if I write fancy pants, complex sentences. It's just pre-writing. I'm just writing down ideas. It's important to be sincere, and it's also important to be earnest. A person who doesn't actually exist. So it's almost as if the title has two opposite meanings, as if as meanings, as if it is lying to itself. Hey, what do we call that when you have two ideas? They're like two sides of the same coin and they seem to contradict themselves. So we got parallelism. These are two ideas that run together, but like two ideas that they seem to be opposed, but they somehow work together. You see an oxymoron. We got a little oxymoron going on. Is there another way to describe that? Paradox. So an oxymoron, let me say, a paradox is like a philosophical oxymoron. There's some kind of meaning to the contradiction. And we could also say that there's something ironic in the title. Like, it's important to be sincere, but you know what? It's also important to be a little bit of a phony. Like, I think this is an important part of the play, honestly. And I think it's an important part of the title. So, now that I've put down some ideas, my next step is I want to find some quotations. So I didn't spend much time preparing what I was going to write. I did spend enough time preparing two quotations. So you might as well, let's get your book out too. Yeah, get your books out. Go to page 44 in your book. Big fat bold lie, page 37. Go to page 37 in your book. No, because I'm showing you how to answer this prompt, but you will recognize the prompt that I give you. Monday. Yep. All right, page 37 in the book. And I think this paradox shows up in the book multiple times. So we have this one line that Cecily says, a third of the way down on page 37. She writes, "This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. Right? Type that quotation into your text and into your document if you haven't already. And I'll let you finish typing. Just finish the quotation, and that's enough for now. Okay, that quotation, does it support one of the two meanings of the play's title? Does it? I'm not going to call in names, but I'm going to point at you, wanting you to answer. Does it? You say yes or no, or maybe so. How so?
Because you said that the two, like, so like the two meanings could be earnest as in like being sincere and honest, and then the other meaning being like lying. And this quote kind of supports the lying one. People kind of wear that mask of like being earnest.
And how lying is a problem, right? So this makes us think that people should be sincere. Okay, there's another quote that we can put into, you might say, conversation with this one. Now go to 44. Gwendolyn's first speech. In matters of grave importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Style. There we go. There we go. All right, this quotation. Does it support one of the meanings of the title? Yeah.
Yeah, the second one,
But looking good while you do it. Okay. Which of these two quotations best explains the main idea of this play? Which of these two quotations best explains the main idea of the play? Tell the person next to you. I just want to get conversation going. Those two ideas, which one best summarizes the main theme of the play? All right. I want to hear. Who says first quote? Second quote? Who says both quotes? Is it possible that the play is about both of these things at the same time? Right? Yeah, you need to be sincere. Yeah, you better look good while you're lying. Which side do you think Oscar Wilde falls on? Probably that side. I don't know though. He said it's important to be sincere, and he also said it's important to Bunbury well. Okay, so I this is my pre-writing process, right? I have read the prompt, and I've noticed this about the title, and then I've written down some literary devices that I could discuss in my discussion of the entire play. And then I found some relevant quotations, right? So it's important to find quotations and scenes for Monday's essay or Tuesday's essay. When you write the actual AP essay, you don't have time. You don't have a book in front of you. You can't just like open up and look for a quote. So you may not have any quotations in your AP essay, but you'll likely still describe a scene in great detail, right? Anyways, so normally when I write a paper, I don't even start with the introduction. Save that for later. No introduction. Don't worry about the introduction, just later. I start with the body paragraphs and just go, come back to the introduction. I don't know if you can do that with Monday's essay and during the AP test. I think it's just hard to leave blank space and then come back to your intro. So you probably have to start with the intro. But before you start writing the intro, it will help to find some scenes. So let's find one scene. Again, I did a little work during my prep to find this scene. Yeah, 44. Well, sorry, 43. Go down to 43. Yeah, at the bottom. So Algernon and Jack are telling Cecily and Gwendolyn why they've had a dual lifestyle. And Algernon, go to the end of 43, his last speech, he says, you know, I pretended to be my guardian's brother in order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you. And then Cecily says to her new sister, Gwendolyn, that certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not? And Gwendolyn says, yes, dear, if you can believe him, suggesting he's lying. There's a lack of sincerity. Now go to 44. Then Cecily says, I don't believe him, but that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer. And then Gwendolyn says, true, in matters of grave importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. We'll continue just a little bit more. Mr. Worthing, when she talks to Jack, what explanation can you offer me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have an opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible? And Jack says, can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax? Does he say yes? He does not. He just asks a question. And Miss Fairfax says, I have the greatest doubts on the subject, but I intend to crush them. So she's going to believe him regardless, right? Thank you. Oh, okay. I have him next period. So I'm going to write about this scene at the very least. I might pick another scene. I might go back to that scene where it says, this is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. Might go to that scene. That's two scenes right there. And then I can pick a third scene, maybe like the end of the play when Jack realizes the vital importance of being earnest. Yeah? So once I've finished pre-writing, then I just have to start writing. Yikes. And I have less than 15 minutes. What would you rather see me write? An introduction for this essay or a body paragraph? Ooh, yeah. Ooh, okay. Who says intro? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, that's a lot. Body paragraph. Okay, I'll try to write a body paragraph next period and like throw that into the screencast so y'all can see both. Okay, y'all put me on the spot. I was expecting to write a body paragraph. So if you can add some variety to your introduction, it helps. Like let's say you have like a quotation in mind that you've heard from Dr. Martin Luther King or Socrates or Virginia Woolf. If you can put that quotation at the beginning of your essay, like you remember it, great. If you can't, that's fine. Maybe you go to like a really specific moment in the play or whatever it is you're writing about, like a really specific moment. You can go to that and then enlarge your discussion. Let me show you what I mean. And this is a rough draft that I'm writing in front of 27 sets of eyes, so I can't make any promises, but I'm going to do my best. So how would I begin this essay? I would say, in Oscar Wilde's The importance of being earnest. What I said, also the importance of being earnest. Readers do not know if what matters more, sincerity or a beautiful, full lie. The title of the play seems to suggest that both matter, as the word earnest, I'm going to put earnest in quotes because it's like I'm defining it. The word earnest means sincere, and at the same time, at the same time what? At the same time what? At the same time what? Feel free to help me out. I'm struggling here. I'm drowning. Throw me a rope. Oh, yes. At the same time, earnest lie about their names, right? So I didn't get really specific with a moment from the play, but I did become specific with the title of the play, right? So I'm going to need to say something about like why Oscar Wilde created this paradox, and this might end up being my thesis statement. The first challenge is explaining the paradox. What is the paradox? Which I think it's that. The second challenge is explaining like why would he do it? What's the purpose of it? Okay, so and when I write and I need to get back into the rhythm of what I've just written, I have to reread what I just wrote. So in Oscar Wilde's we do not know that matters more, sincerity or beautiful lie. Title of the play seems both matters. The word earnest means sincere, and at the same time, people named Ernest, the characters named Ernest, lie about their names. The play critiques what? Victorian so I wanted, yes, gender stereotypes, but I want to be bigger than that. Like Victorian societal views. Which did you say? Social Victorian, I don't know, something. I'm social standards. You know what? I think you can write in pencil. I mean, for my essay, you can write in pencil. In fact, for my essay, would you like to be able to type it? Who says yes? Okay, yeah, you can type it. So I'm just gonna underline this, and no, I might come back to it to correct it. So play critiques Victorian social standards, or maybe I'll call it expectations, and I can come back later. The play critiques Victorian social standards and encourages its readers to remove, now I'm going to quote that line from above, the shallow mask of manners, right? Now I'm explaining in more detail the paradox itself. I realize now I can't explain the why of the paradox yet. I need to say a little bit more about what the paradox is. The play critiques remove the shallow mask of manners, and yet, nope, that's two conjunctions, one after the other. Yet, it also calls reminds, I can't say its readers again, the audience, that style, not sincerity, I want to say matters most, but I've already said that. It's another way to say matters more. Or another way to say again, is more important, is more significant. I know there's a better way to say all of this, but I'll come back to it later. So the question remains, why the paradox does Wilde does the play encourage authenticity, or what would be the opposite of authenticity? or fakeness doesn't quite fit. Fraud, that could work. Farce. Fraud isn't quite, like, the opposite of fraud would be honesty, but authenticity is like genuineness or deception. Does the play encourage authenticity or deception? While some readers may want a simple answer to this question, may search for. Ooh. See this phrase? I don't know what to make of it. This essay will argue. I don't. You're gonna have to ask your like AP teachers next year if AP graders have a problem with that those words. I don't have a problem with it. I've written in college essays. Professors didn't have a problem with it, but maybe there are like some code words that you need to use and need to avoid. Maybe that's one of them. I don't know. Ask your AP teacher next year. This essay will argue, while some readers may search for a simple answer to this question, this essay will argue that Wilde's play and its title encourages both. Paradoxically encourages, what did you say? And I look for ways to take out be verbs every chance I get. Favors both simultaneously, right? And I know the bell's about to ring, but I normally I would not add like the preview 3, the preview sentence where you say Wilde uses this literary device and this literary device and this literary device. College professors don't want you writing those kinds of sentences in your college essays, but I've heard that AP graders like them. So I might this is my thesis, flat out. I like it. There's some contrast going on even within the thesis. I like it. But for the sake of the AP essay, I might need to say something like, let's see, circle answers it. Favors both simultaneously. Wilde. Oh, come on. Wilde uses irony, antithesis, and something else. Yeah, let's say repetition. Let's say repetition. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Get it? Irony, antithesis, and repetition to communicate his theme. Boom. Then we just move on to body paragraphs. Now, you can't straight up use this intro for your for your essay because you will not be writing about the title. But if you're writing about Jack, you can try to get to the heart of who Jack is or who Jack represents as a character. Somebody who has to be sincere and at the same time tell a really good lie. You have to get to the heart of him in order to find the scenes that represent him well.
Is it like what books do they pick?
You choose. That's a great question. As y'all walk out, notice that you have no homework. Just get ready to write an essay starting next week. Question: what books do you pick? Do they pick for the AP test? They don't pick the books. They just give you prompts and they give you options. Like they say, you could choose from one of these 20 books or pick something else. If you haven't read those 20, pick another book that you have read that's a classic. Like Ernest, like To Kill a Mockingbird, like yeah. And because they're like classics of Western civilization, but Pride and Prejudice and etc. All right, folks, I'm going to shut down this screencast. Hopefully it works, and then I'll post it to the lesson plan in a few hours.